Good evening. My name is Dave Soffern. I'm the Director of Admissions here at Brother Rice. And on behalf of Brother Rice, obviously we want to welcome you here. We're very excited to be able to call you and your sons home to the Brother Rice community. Before we start, like we do for every event, we'd like to start off with a quick and brief prayer. Sometimes we picture God as aloof and far out of reach. But the truest spiritual traditions remind us that however majestic and high God may be, He is also near. God, be in my head and in my understanding. God, be in my eyes and in my looking. Be in my mouth and in my speaking. God, be in my heart and in my thinking. God, be at my end and at my departing. We always finish our prayer with the response, live Jesus in our hearts, in which we respond forever. So live Jesus in our hearts. Forever. So we're very excited about your sons entering this new phase of their life. And they wouldn't be here, obviously, if it wasn't for the guidance and wisdom that you've instilled in them over these 13 or 14 years. And so, obviously, I can only draw on my experience as a fellow warrior. I was a graduate of the class of 1996, and Brother Rice truly changed my life. I remember coming in as a freshman with a lot of dreams and hopes and fears and nerves, and by the time I left, I felt like I was ready and prepared to face not only the challenges of college, but of life. And that would be my hope and dream for your sons, is as they enter Brother Rice, they have great dreams and great hopes, and we help them meet those dreams and hopes. We have a great lineup tonight of various speakers, and hopefully you get to know them over the next 4 years, administrators, teachers, etc. And the first speaker that we have tonight is our new student class president, class of 2015, and it was just announced, I think, last week that he'll be leading our senior class in school next fall. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Michael Bonasso, student class president, and he's going to talk about our Band of Brothers program. Michael?
Good evening, everyone. Happy to be here with you all tonight. It's very nostalgic for me to be here tonight. It reminds me a lot of when I was an incoming freshman and going through all the orientations and meetings coming here. I remember my first day at Brother Rice. I came in and the way the band system is set up is there are mentor groups within all the bands. So I was placed in my mentor group with equal numbers of freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And immediately I was approached by all the seniors, all the juniors, all the upperclassmen. And that really caught me off guard because I was just a freshman. I was this little, not so little freshman, and I'm coming in this foreign place to me, and everyone was so welcoming, and it like outlines the purpose of the band system. The purpose of the band system is to join all the grade levels together. So there's no separation. It's not your stereotypical high school experience where a freshman doesn't ever talk to a senior. Seniors always beat up the freshmen, that stuff. It is very much a brotherhood. It is very much a brotherhood, and it is unique to me. I've never seen anything like it before. I wouldn't say that my experience was unique. I'm sure that there are plenty of other students, alumni that have similar experiences to mine. I am still very good friends with many graduates from last year's class and the class the year before then. I still talk to them all. One specific thing I remember was when I was a freshman, a junior at the time, actually asked me to come see a movie with him. And yeah, sure, let me come see a movie with you, absolutely. I didn't know what to say. I was so surprised to be invited by an upperclassman, someone who had been here for so much longer than I had been, and he had so many more friends that he could have asked, but he thought enough of me to ask me to go hang out with him for a night, and it was you know, it was special to me, and he's also one of those people I'm still in touch with and still very close with. Your sons will have very similar experiences to mine. They'll obviously have their own unique experiences, but I can guarantee they will all be very, very good experiences and experiences to recall in their future life and talk about with their fellow graduates. Thank you for your time tonight. I will now be introducing Brother Segovich, our principal.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome, everybody. This is the second time we've done an event like this in the spring for incoming parents. We thought it'd be nice to give you a little head start before, in a few weeks, about 12 weeks, you'll be back here and things will be a little more hectic than that, so it gives you a little chance to get some information about the school. And the information sheet you have that you picked up as you entered the room, I asked some of our mothers who also work here at the school, I asked, what questions did you have when you came here with your son, and what would you want to know on an evening like this? And you have most of what they brought to us as responses there. I'll tell you a little bit in about 3.5 minutes, a little bit of history of the school, who the brothers are, what the structure of the school is, and just some general information. And behind me you see a picture of the school. I'm going to move off to the side here. Front door of the school. Brother Rice was founded in 1960 as a response to a need in the area for Catholic high school education. As a result, Marion High School opened in 1959, Brother Rice opened in 1960, and both schools were created as a result of the 5 local parishes who saw a need for Catholic high school education in the area, as this area was growing very much in the late 1950s, early 1960s. The brothers ended up being invited here because of our schools in New York City. The rumor, so the legend is, and I like the legend, so I'll repeat it, is that Cardinal Mooney, who was the Archbishop of Detroit in the late 1950s, was visiting New York City at the time of the St. Patrick's Day parade, and he went with Cardinal Spellman to the parade, and the brothers had several schools in New York City, and they paraded on St. Patrick's Day, and Cardinal Mooney asked Cardinal Spellman, what was the name of the group running those schools? Rice High School, All Hallows High School, Power Memorial Academy, and so forth. And he said, it's the Irish Christian Brothers. And he said, well, we're opening up a school in the suburbs of Detroit. I'd like to have that group come to my school. And that's as I said, the legend is how we were invited here. And it makes for a good story, and that's how we ended up here in 1960. We lived in what's Old Monastery Hall. Your sons will become familiar with that. We have our counseling offices and many school offices there now. And the brothers live about a half mile away in a residence just the other side of Lasser in 14 Mile. There are 5 of us, and I'm very happy to say we have 5 brothers all working in the school in some capacity. At one time, the brothers did most of the teaching at the school. However, time, attrition, and so forth, we don't have that ability anymore, but we do have fine, dedicated lay people who know the tradition of the brothers and carry it on. So if you could move to the next slide. Our motto of the school, Sanctitas per Scientiam, holiness through knowledge. That's what we try to incorporate in your sons. The brother schools throughout North America. We're part of an entity called the North American Province. We have schools in Vancouver, in Honolulu, in California, New York, Florida, here, Chicago, and each school has its own particular motto, but the brother schools are known for good academics, good extracurriculars, and good discipline. And I think you'll find within a few weeks, once your son starts here, I hope you'll feel that way about him too. Thank you, Brendan. Blessed Edmund Rice, the namesake of our school, had a 40-year life as a layman before he founded the brothers. Unfortunately, when people ask what a brother is, because we're kind of the smallest group within the structure of the church, we're lay religious who take vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. We often live in communities, and while brothers are very small in the mixture of the church, our own particular congregation has less than 2,000 members scattered throughout the world. Oftentimes these brothers groups take on a particular apostolate. our brothers chose the apostolate of education. Edmund Rice, he was beatified in 1996, so he's called Blessed Edmund Rice. This is the ceremony that took place in Rome. You know, recently there was a canonization of John Paul II and John the 23rd. A beatification is a step towards to sainthood. Not quite there. We need to find another miracle that he can be held responsible for, and then he'll be up to the list of canonized people and be Saint Edmund Rice. And we have to change the name of the school and all the stationery. So we're happy where we are right now. So these are a list of the areas in the world where the brothers are found. So you can see we're spread out quite a bit. And if we go to the next slide, essential element. This is 7 particular principles that you would find in any school that the brothers are associated with in North America. The areas that I mentioned in North America and Canada and the United States, there are 7. Believe me, there are 7. There's a list of them in your handout as well. But excellence would be one of them, and the other 6, dedication to the, there we go, okay. Evangelize youth, proclaiming our Catholic identity, standing in solidarity with the poor and marginalized, foster a community of faith, celebrate the dignity of all, collaborate with others in the mission of the church, and to pursue excellence in all things. So these are, say, any school that the brothers we associate with in North America would stand by these principles. I was part of the group that helped create these back in the year 2000. We went to Iona College in New Rochelle, New York, which is a brother's institution, and we had representatives from schools all throughout North America that brought these about. Just a couple other things I want to share with you. I was saying that the brothers, we're not ordained, we don't say Mass, we cannot perform the sacraments. We are lay religious, and that's our call. We're not failed priests. We didn't fail in our studies. We did not desire to become priests. We wanted to be brothers. And like I asked one brother in New York, why do you do what you do? Because this way I can be a brother to someone. I don't have to be a father, I can be a brother. And we feel it's a full vocation in and of itself. And I just want to mention one thing about the structure of the school. Our founder, Edmund Ignatius Rice, took his religious name from a person he admired, Ignatius Loyola. So we do have a connection with the Jesuits, and more maybe than we want in some cases in terms of competition for students. But I myself went to a Jesuit graduate school for my degree in administration when I was out in California, and I'm very proud of that degree, and Jesuits have fine schools. And many years ago they created a tradition of having what's called a president-principal model. And the president is kind of like an on-site superintendent. Our president here is John Burney, class of 1976, and a former pupil of mine, I might add as well. And the principal is responsible for the academic aspects of the school, and the president goes to go golfing and go to lunches. So that's kind of what the difference is between the two. John is scheduled to speak to you at the end of our presentation. So that's a very brief history of the school, a little background on the brothers, and also the principles of the school, LES, that we try to adhere to in educating your son. We realize we work in collaboration with you in educating your sons, and we take that responsibility very seriously. Thank you again for coming this evening, and now I'd like to introduce our academic dean, Mr. Carl Grosso.
Thank you, brother. Being academic dean, I would like to thank Michael for being here tonight. He's a great example of how our students grow and change, but he has a chemistry test to study for, so we're going to have to excuse him. I began here in 1974. I came in as a math teacher, also taught economics and computer science, became the department head, and then for some foolish reason, the assistant principal at the time asked me if I wanted to, he was getting other work, and he said, you want to take on some of these things? And I somehow mistakenly said yes, and ended up being academic dean. There are lots and lots of questions that you have, and I am sure that we can't cover them all tonight. We'll only probably cover a few topics, but please feel comfortable to call and ask questions of any of us if they should arise. Change is difficult, and it will be difficult for your son. He will be coming to a new environment. He'll have new teachers. He'll have new classmates. And there'll be new demands on him. So you think about that when over the summertime and when he starts here next year, that you really need to make sure that you talk with your son on a regular basis. Ask him how school is going. Ask him, what's his favorite class? Who's your best friend at the moment? Whatever. I know at our house, although I hated it, my wife had a ritual at dinner time that you always had to say the best thing that happened to you that day and the worst thing that happened to you that day. But again, communication with your sons is really important. We also have an Infinite Campus, which we use for our grading software. So you can go online and hopefully keep track of how he's doing in every particular class. Although again, I would think the direct communication between you and your son in terms of saying, how are you doing in that class? Everything going well? Have you ever stayed after class and talked to the teacher? Also, we use a software called Moodle, which will keep you aware of the kind of homework assignments he has and stuff, so that you could ask him, do you have, maybe he needs to read Chapter 7 of Huckleberry Finn. Have you read Chapter 7 yet? So those ways you can kind of keep track of what he is doing. We have a pretty demanding curriculum. I know from my own son's experience, he went to a middle school, which was a honors middle school in the school district we were in. And he took Algebra 1 honors as an 8th grader. And since being a math teacher, and of course I couldn't answer any of his questions because I didn't know anything about math. I'm sure if you have sons, you know exactly that you don't know anything. But I could tell by what he was doing in his Algebra 1 class that it was not the same as the kind of demands we were putting on our Algebra 1 students here. And it was a very interesting, we had a meeting with his teacher at the end of the year, and it's like a parent-teacher conference, and we were just talking about how he was doing in class, and she brought up, where is he going to school next year? And we said, well, I teach at Brother Rice, and he's going to be going to Brother Rice next year. And she said, oh, you know what? He probably should take Algebra 1 honors again. And I found that as a very strange comment, but I realized that she also realized there are different levels of every subject area. Sometimes there are more demands put on students in one school than there are in another. And again, our curriculum is pretty demanding here. And one of the things that makes a huge difference is doing homework. And I know for my son, when he came here to Brother Rice, he would still have his friends come over and they'd say, why don't you come out and go to the movie with us? Why don't you do this, do that? And my son would say, I have my homework I have to finish. And they would wide-eyed look at him and go, homework? We don't have homework. So one of the things that sometimes is kind of shocking is the fact that every class pretty much will have homework on a every night basis, if not on a pretty regular basis. And once you start to fall behind, you can really run into trouble. So again, make sure you talk with your sons, make sure they're keeping up with work. Encourage him to, if there's something he doesn't understand, encourage him to before class, after class, before school, after school, come and talk to the teachers. Our teachers are very welcoming to all of their students. And sometimes they find it quite a surprise when they can deal with them one-on-one that they're not such a monster as they appear to be when they're standing in front of the class. They really are helpful and will answer questions and do the very best they can to help that student succeed. So encourage your sons to do that. Article I read just recently said one of the most important things about education is the connection between the teacher and the student. They said online education is good and doing an education by yourself is good, but that connection between teacher and student makes an education something great. I'm sure that Brother probably took up most of my time, so I don't want to go on and take up too much of your time. There are two things to finish up here. You were sent home the course selections that you have selected for your sons for next year. Over the next month or so, please take a look at those. Make sure they're what you would like them to be. We want your son to have a challenging experience, but we don't want him to be overwhelmed. You know, sometimes all honors classes is not the way to start your freshman year. You know, it just becomes too overwhelming. My daughter, who went to Marion, a much different personality than my son, took all honors classes and stayed up till 1 in the morning to try to get all her homework done, and cried like every night. But those are girls for you. I am sure that we have another parent information night in August where we can answer a lot more questions. But I would like to introduce to you now Sister Marie, who is our fantastic freshman counselor.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. By the way, and I've been timing this, Brother made a special trip to my office to make sure that I would stop after 5 minutes. So I'm going to be shorter, because I do get to speak with you and share with you some experiences in August, and I'll look forward to that. There's a reminder in that program that you'll receive. First of all, I want to tell you that I am a Bernardine Franciscan sister. I'm a lay religious woman in the church. I take vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. I live in community with 6. There are 6 of us. There are 2 Bernardine Franciscan sisters here, and we are both in the counseling department. I am the freshman counselor. Sister Elena is the sophomore counselor. Brother Ross Wiletz, a Christian brother, is the junior counselor, and we have 2 senior counselors, college counselors. The head of our department, Mrs. Christine Darren, and her associate and part of our department, Mrs. Michelle Patrick. So I'm very happy to be part of that team. And here's the thing. I said I was going to be short, so I'm going to go back to something else that Brother did this week. He sent us all an email, and the email was a YouTube of Admiral McRaven. Any of you heard of him? He's the commander of the Navy SEALs. And 2 things in that surprise me. He's giving the commencement address at his alma mater in Texas, and he says to them that there are 8,000 of you and you can change the world, and I'm going to give you 10 lessons for life to do that. 10 lessons. So I'm all ears, because I'm thinking, here is the Admiral, okay? The commander of the Navy SEALs, I'm going to hear something great, and all he talks about is basic training. That's all he talks about, and I'm thinking, that's like freshman. He's talking about the beginning. And rule number 1, I loved it because it's the first thing I learned in my community. Make your bed perfectly. Every morning. No, this is good. I think you should go home and say to your freshmen coming in, I want you every morning to make your bed perfectly. And I want you every day to go and check it. That's what happened to them. And that impressed them. That was rule number 1. To make life-changing decisions. Make your bed. So that impressed me. The rest read like everything I needed to know I learned in kindergarten. Remember that book? Because it was all that he learned in basic training. And I'm going to tell you what it was. It was the little things that he learned. The insignificant things that you and I might take for granted. But 150 Navy officers went into his class to become SEALs. And 35 remained at the end because they learned to do the little things perfectly. That's my message for you. Let them make their bed perfectly. One thing. Let's start. God bless you. I'll see you in August. Our Dean of Students, Mr. Daniels.
Don't know how I had to follow her. When I saw that on the schedule today, I said I was in trouble, and I am. But anyways, thanks for being here. In the old days, my job might have been called the Dean of Discipline. I got rid of that title many years ago because it really isn't the point. I'm the Dean of Students. I'm here in the school, and I talk to the freshmen at the beginning of the year at orientation, and I tell them that I'm here to support you. If you have a problem, ever so small or very large, I'm here to support you. And carrying that a little bit further, I'm here to support you. You are the primary disciplinarians of your sons. Who am I? I am here to carry on at school what I know you want your sons to become. You don't want your sons to be disrespectful, disobedient. You don't want them being distracted with their cell phone, iPad, keep going, in the classroom. You're spending a lot of money to have them pay attention to the teacher and learn. So that's why I'm here. And I'm very kind to the boys. I can't remember the last time I raised my voice. Oftentimes, a student will come into my office and he appears to be madder than a wet hen. And the first thing I tell them is I say, please sit down and let's discuss this like businessmen. So we begin. And if I find that he can't do it, I'll leave the room. I'll say, I'll come back in a few minutes when you're able to discuss this with me quietly so that we can resolve it. I've always said, and I think I was born for this job, I prepared for it when I was just a little boy, I loved reading fairy tales. And you know how every fairy tale ends? Happily ever after. And that's what I always want to happen, no matter what the situation might be. Sure, I've had to suspend many, many boys over the years. 201, they will say to me, and this is, you saw Mike Bonasso up here, this is the type of boys your sons are going to be rubbing shoulders with. 201, after I suspend them, they will say, thank you, and I'll see you in a couple of days. Because no one wants to be treated in an angry manner. No one wants to be treated poorly. The teachers don't. The administration doesn't. The staff doesn't. And your sons don't either. Nor do you. And I'm sure one of your pet peeves with your sons is when they talk back to you, they get angry with you. That's not how we behave. That's not how we learn to be a Christian adult. And that is our goal at all times, is to help them become a Christian Catholic adult. Well, how does that happen? What happens with bumps in the road? We never expect anybody to be perfect. I supervise detention twice a week. I've been here every Saturday since school began. So I'm not telling you we're living in a fairy tale land here, but we also learn accountability, responsibility. Boys are procrastinators. Hello. Almost every Saturday detained student, including this Saturday, is at Saturday detention because he forgot to serve his detention within a week's period of time. Sound like your son? And so, we teach them that you're not going to get away with it. You're going to pay a more severe price for being airheaded, for lack of a better word. So, and again, we're not here to scare anybody. We're here to help them become a Christian gentleman, to become like Michael Bonasso, to become like many of you who are alums of Brother Rice High School. One I know I taught, sitting looking at me like, what am I going to say about him? But I wasn't the dean at that time. I was his English teacher, and he was a fine student and a great athlete, so great memories of him. But that's it. And so, you know, somebody said, everybody wants discipline unless it's their son. Everybody wants penalty. We want to run a tight ship unless it's their son. Then maybe we bend the rules a little bit and come up with an excuse. You'll find here that that doesn't work. I've had to make many, many, many difficult phone calls. And I start out by saying, I'm sorry to have to inform you. So when you see my number come up on your cell phone, or, you know, it's not that bad, but if you hear me say, I'm sorry to have to inform you, I guess we're going to meet sometime soon. So God bless you, and thank you very much for listening to me. And now Reg Cavender, our athletic director.
Thanks, Don. I have the best job in the world. For an athletically minded guy, it's 24/7 athletics. Every season, before the season begins, Brother and I, we address all of our coaching staff. We remind them that our priorities are God, family, academics, and then athletics. The mission statement: the school fosters the spiritual, cultural, and physical development of its students. The student develops the understanding that dedication, desire, determination, and discipline are fundamental in the total achievement of the individual's mental, physical, social needs through participation in athletics. We truly believe that, and we offer a wide range of sports. We have 14 sports, 30 different teams. We have 80 dedicated coaches that are coaching our kids. And this is the best coaching staff in the state. In any given year, we suit up 750 kids that represent Brother Rice on the field of play in one of those 14 sports. We have 660 kids, so you can figure out the math. Some of these kids are playing 2 sports or 3 sports. It's very good. We ask them and continue to ask them to do more sports. We just don't want a kid to be just one sport and focus in on one sport and that's it. In the fall, we have 4 sports: cross country, football, soccer, and tennis. And on the table as you walked in, there's a flyer, and the flyer has information on all 4 of those sports. And it's intended, this is the flyer, and it's intended to answer questions that you might have, like, is there camps that my son could attend? What's the conditioning and strength programs that you might have? When does practice start? What is required of my son? So, and there's also contact information of our coaching staff on there as well to answer any specific question you might have. In the winter, we have 6 sports: bowling, basketball, swimming and diving, hockey, skiing, and wrestling. And in spring, we have baseball, golf, lacrosse, and track and field. Literally hundreds of parents support our programs here at Brother Rice through booster clubs, various club activities, or the Alumni Association. We have at Brother Rice about 75% of our entire student body plays some sport. And if we include the intramural sports, which is bowling, about 100 kids, basketball, about 180 kids, football, flag football that is, we have about 80 to 90 kids. We include that intramural program with our sports program. We have about 90% of our student body that's participating in some type of sport activity. At Brother Rice, we are extremely proud of the academic, it's easy for me to say, right? The academic honors that we have achieved. Yeah, of the 14 sports, there are 8 coaching associations that honor an all-state all team and all-state, all-academic team. And every year, we have 7 or 8 of our teams that qualify for that honor. And I want to explain one other thing too, that when we're looking at different awards, a Scholar Athlete Award, it might be a Michigan High School Athletic Association Award, it might be a Catholic League Award. We take the seniors and we, in descending order of grade point averages, we take a look at those who have the highest grade point average. And in this senior class we have right now, of the top 50 kids, the bottom, the 50th kid was a 3.8 average, not too shabby. Of 50 kids, 29 of them were athletes. And we look at that report, and on that report, there's 26 of those kids that have a 4-point and above. Of the 26, 21 of them are athletes. And in the top 10, no difference. 8 of the top 10, including the valedictorian, is an athlete. We're extremely proud of that relationship that we have with athletics and academics. This past year we had 2, this year going on right now, we have 2 state championships that we won in football and also swimming and dive. We're extremely proud of swimming and dive because not only did they win the title in Division I, they also had the highest grade point average. Brother alluded to the essential elements, and essential element number 7 is particularly important for athletics. To pursue excellence in all endeavors. And more specific, a Christian brother education develops a curriculum that promotes the harmonious growth of the whole person, fosters high order thinking, and prepares students for long life learning. There are a couple of requirements that are necessary to play in athletics. One is that they must be physically fit and have a doctor's statement. Some of these cards are at the front table as you came in. It's also online. This must be completed on both sides before your son is eligible to participate. Even try out. We need to have this completed, making sure that he's healthy and that he can compete. I will be available for any questions that you might have. And like Sister mentioned, that there's other times that you'll be back here at Brother Rice. Thank you for supporting Brother Rice Athletics. And it's my privilege to introduce our Director of Advancement, Chris Druin, class of '93.
Good evening. I'm going to move around and make Ben earn his money over there. First of all, everyone, welcome to Brother Rice. And I say welcome because you're not just sending your sons here. You're now a part of our community. Your family is a part of our community. So welcome and thank you for joining us. We are a very large family, a very big fraternity. I always joke, marathon runners, vegetarians, and Brother Rice people, first 5 minutes of meeting us, you're going to find out whether we do one of those things. We are very, very proud of what we do here. And I say that because we want you guys to be a part of that community and be a very active member of that community. You send your sons here because you want something special for him. You want the best for him. You don't just want to send him off to school and count on the teachers to be his role model, be his teacher, be his leader. You want to be a proactive person in their education, their growth and development. So we want you to be a part of the community. There's several ways. Kara Eichenlob is in the back, if she can say hello. Kara's the president of the Mothers Club. David Gildner is the president of the Dad's Club. He couldn't be here. But I'm going to encourage every one of you that when it comes time to get involved, get involved. Director of Advancement, most places that just says money and fundraising, but here it's really time, treasure, and talents. And we want to make sure that as we have a school that is flourishing and thriving, that you guys are a part of it. We will have tremendous opportunities with you to support your son's teams, his intramurals, his robotics team, his debate team, his football team. But you can be a part of his faith, you can be a part of his academic life, and you can help us in admissions as well. So I really want to make sure that everyone knows that it is different here. And when I came here several years ago as a student, I came in from St. Hugo, and my parents had 45 moms and dads that they were friends with. Some of you might be coming here from a school where you don't know more than 1 or 2 other kids, more than 1 or 2 moms and dads. Get involved. We're a very social group. Join the Moms Club, join the Dads Club. Come out and work the auction and volunteer in open house. Now when we go at the end of the year, at the end of every 4 years, when the senior moms are at the Moms Club luncheon, it's not just the St. Hugo moms sitting at one table, or the baseball moms at a table, or the soccer moms at a table. It's the moms that have been active and a part of this community for years and years that have gotten to know the public school moms, or have gotten to know the moms from a different sport, or the moms in a different grade. So you're a part of the family, you're a part of the community now, and we really want you to feel welcome. And if you have any questions, anything within the Moms Club, Kara's in the back, Dave's going to have other stuff. There's going to be committees that you're asked to serve on. And the ante to play is 10 hours a year. We ask that everyone puts in at least 5 hours towards their son's sport, club, team, whatever, and then another 5 hours within the school. And that can be planning a mother-son pancake brunch and mass. That can be done by serving with your son at our all-school days of service. Twice a year, we take the entire school out in the community and we do service for the poor. Come with us. Drive your sons. Work side by side with them. It's something special we do here that no one else does in our community. So we wear our faith on our sleeve, and this is something we're proud of, and we ask you to be a part of it as well. Kara, did you want to come up and grab the mic for anything? Okay. And one other thing you'll notice when I talk about community, most of the guys up here my age and younger, we're grads. We came back here and we proudly work at our alma mater. Brendan Robinson is our new director of admissions.
Thank you, everybody. It's good to see you again. I'm so happy I was there to open the door for you tonight. I'm literally brand new. Not brand new. I've been at the school just under a week. So thrilled to be in the position that I'm in. I'm kind of upset that I didn't get to go on the journey with you to get you here tonight. I know Dave and Doug did a great job of getting you here, and I look forward to speaking with you throughout this summer and 4 years here at Brother Rice. There's just 2 things I want to talk to you about. The first one is I am going to send you all a 5-question survey tomorrow. It's really easy. It's going to take you probably 5 minutes or less, but I want your feedback on how we did and how we can do better so that as our community grows, we keep doing a better job. The second thing I want to talk to you about tonight is a new initiative that we've installed that is a benefit to both you and the school. We have a referral program for if you refer a student to us that enrolls, the following semester you will get a $500 tuition credit. It helps us grow and it helps your pocketbooks. So there's forms on our website. I believe it's under the admissions tab. I'm going to work really hard to get it right on the homepage so you don't have to look for it, because I know you guys are going to send more awesome people like your son who are looking to grow and become better men. I want to thank you tonight for being here. I look forward to seeing your faces in the hallways and the activities and everything we do here over the summer. You will be getting phone calls from me. You can call me. I'm here to help and look forward to being on this journey with you. Next, I'd like to introduce our president, Mr. John Burney, and I'll see you all in August.
Good evening. Glad to be here. This is my 10th year in this role and have enjoyed almost every minute along the way because, and this is really the point of my talk this evening, I'd like you to think about the future. The future is, in my estimation, less about next year or maybe about next fall. It's less about the next couple of years. To me, it's really the mission of the school played out 10 and 20 and 30 and 40 years down the road. To me, that ultimately is what is the most exciting story about the mission of Brother Rice and Evan Rice, and that is the nearly 10,000 graduates now. Believe it or not, this past year we had the celebration of our 50th, how do you say, first class, sorry, it was their 50th anniversary of their graduation, the class of 64, now in the class 2014, and having an opportunity to talk to those guys, as I have many other classes, I know a number of grads here today. Really what I want you to think about is what's the value of this education, this journey that your kids are about to go on. Because I think very often what happens is that we tend to focus on the day-to-day, perhaps the minuscule, perhaps the momentary. I'd like to tell you about the long-term. And it is the story of our sons. I hear Carl talking about his son and Tom's sons and Reg's son who is here. And it's an exciting thought. It's an exciting conclusion to understand that over the next 4 years, you're going to have an institution that is dedicated to reinforcing the lessons and the values that you teach at home every day. You know, sometimes people say, well, is my son safe? Is it a safe environment? And I would say, on many levels it is, but the safest environment, in my view, is that your sons are going to be at home. They're going to be treated by people who see them not just as a student, or not just as an athlete, but as if they're their own sons, who have high expectations for them, who want to make demands on them, who want them to be better, who are really committed to this mission of development. And that is where the excitement comes in. I guarantee you, I had this conversation with a parent today after freshman year with his son. He cannot believe the growth and the development in his son in 1 year. And my response to him was, stay tuned, because it's going to get even better and more so over the next couple of years. And then the exciting point to me is, this isn't just a temporary thing. It isn't just about getting grades, and yes, mom and dad will be happy that I'm made this team or on the NHS, whatever the case may be, for a couple of years. This is really a lifetime decision in all the right ways. You're going to be so proud of the boy who becomes a man, of the young person who perhaps occasionally, let's say, pushes your buttons and maybe knows how to upset you and doesn't really work to his potential and all the other challenges of being a 14-year-old boy. I'm telling you that graduation day for me is one of the great and frankly to a certain degree sad moments of my career, because when I shake the hand of each one of those kids and give them their diploma, for many of them I know how much of a journey they've made. I know the progress they've made. But very much like Brother Hiller, who was the first principal of the school, who I always credit with having this incredibly optimistic view, the excitement for us is we know going forward that they've been prepared. They're ready. Now, by the way, I need to say to you, I also recognize it's not like they've been raised by wolves for the first 14 years. I wouldn't want to discredit the impact that you've made. Obviously, it's essential. But I'm telling you, that's our job, is to work with you as partners to reinforce. You are the primary educator, the primary disciplinarian, as Tom said. We get that. We're here to work with you, which is why at the end of 4 years, very often we say, thank you for sharing your son with us. It's been a great experience to participate, to watch him grow, struggles included, so that by the time he's done, he's ready. Great friend of mine who's a counselor has a line that I use 1,000 times. I'll credit him every time, my buddy Mike Jameson, class of 77. He says, look, our job is to prepare the child for the path, not to prepare the path for the child. I think he's got it exactly right. That's why our kids go off as men, they're successful, they graduate from college. You know, in the old days, college prep used to be, well, they got into such and such a school. I'm telling you, college prep really should mean, you just get into the school, but they graduated and got degrees. A statistic I love to tell you, 80% of our kids have a bachelor's degree in 4 years and 98% in 5. And a lot of those 5-year guys were mad at me because they said they're double majors, they're not slackers. Okay? Our kids do well. And then they go off and they get jobs. Does that sound appealing, moms and dads, right at this point? You know, they get jobs. They become productive members of society. Very often they become not only employees but employers. They go off, they get married, they create families. It is such a pleasure for me. I graduated from here 38 years ago, so I think I can speak to the history of my classmates and guys that I taught in the early 80s, many of whom are now back in school as parents. And it's exciting to see, again, this growth and this legacy continue. And I come back to it, it's about the long term, moms and dads. It's about your eyes on the prize. Is the prize just getting to college? Is the prize just getting a good grade? Is the prize just being the captain of a team? Or is the prize what kind of a adult Christian gentleman your son becomes, and the difference he makes, and how he makes the world better, and how he makes your life better, and your family, and everybody around? That's what our school's about. And if you're willing to commit to that mission, as I think you are, you're here today, I think you're really going to be very excited. Talk to our parents of seniors. Talk to parents whose sons have graduated from Rice who are in college. Talk to people like me. I've had 2 boys who graduated from here, not just myself, my 2 sons, who are now both Rice grads, they're both U of M grads, they're both working, productive members of society, and I'm just eternally grateful for, frankly, all these people behind me who were a factor in their life of development and growth. It's a great place. I'm so glad you've chosen to be here, and I thank you very much for being here tonight. Thank you. And I'm here to introduce our Associate Director of Admissions, Mr. Doug Bickens, class of 2004. Sorry, Doug.
Thank you very much. We have 4 minutes, so I'll stay under that 4 minutes, and we'll get you out of here on time. I'm going to go over a few things that I guess are just a little bit more relevant for the upcoming schedule for over the summer. First will be on the front of your packet, you'll see a tentative schedule. Everybody always wants to know, when will their son be getting their class schedule? They will be getting their class schedule at the schedule distribution day. So if you have questions after that day in regards to your son's schedule, you would need to set up an appointment to come talk to a counselor. Also, if you have any questions regarding your son's schedule currently, definitely call one of our counselors. We'd be happy to kind of walk you through that as well. Next will be in the packet, there's a summer reading. So all our students are required to perform a summer reading. So 3rd page, you'll see a list of the summer reading that is required. And it will be required for the first day of class. So it will need to be completed for the first day of class. So all those books can be purchased at our bookstore. Lastly, we get a lot of phone calls in regards to camps. So currently there are 7 academic camps, kind of Head Start camps for some of our students. So if you guys are interested in signing your son up for an academic-based camp, take a look at these, see if any of them interest you. And if you have any questions, definitely give us a call. We kind of walk you through it, let you know what the students do, but there's kind of a little description in there for you as well. And lastly will be our sports camps. That would be next to that. If you have questions in regards to the sports camps, like I said, give us a call. All the camps are coming up relatively soon, so middle of June into July. So if you guys are looking to get your sons enrolled, I guess do it within the next couple weeks. I really want to thank you for your time, your attentiveness. Thank you a lot for coming out. Enjoy the night.
Yeah.